welcome back to a brand new episode of Virtual Coffee. My name is Alexa Collier, and on this podcast, we chat with small business owners where we discuss their perspectives, their journeys, their pieces of advice, and sometimes I'll do solo episodes to share what's been on my mind. Now, with me today is Mark, the founder of the Artisan. They sell clothes that spread kindness and give back to the world. Specifically, they donate a portion of their proceeds back to the oceans through the organization Oceana. Now, I had a wonderful conversation with Mark. He really walked us through the Artisan's journey from start to where they are now. And I think what they're doing is just spreading such a kind message, spreading kindness to the world. And you should definitely check out their clothing that they're selling and making. Now, before we hear from Mark, of course, I'd appreciate if you could rate and review Virtual Coffee on the Apple Podcast app and on Spotify. Helps others find us, and it helps further promote the businesses that we feature on the podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the social medias. You can find us at Virtual Coffee Podcast. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are having a wonderful week, and I hope you continue to have a wonderful week. And I will chat with you all next week. Now, let's hear from Mark. Welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for being on Virtual Coffee today.
Yes, and I actually have my iced coffee with me in honor of the podcast.
Yay! I love when folks come on brand. I love that. That's awesome. Well, let's jump right into it, Mark. Would love for you to introduce yourself, introduce your business, The Artisan. Just get us started here. Tell us what you're about.
So my name is Mark. I am the owner of The Artisan here in New Bedford, Massachusetts. We are a brand that makes clothes that make an impact. Our impact is basically whenever you purchase one of our products, we actually donate 10% of our profits to Save the Oceans. And the organization we decided to go through was Oceana. They're very globally known because they also not only support the US, but they support like everyone around the world. But my point of view for going through them was, although I want to start here in Massachusetts and then eventually like saturate and like create almost like a ripple effect and make waves that way, but I also want to show people that even if you're small, you can really change the world no matter what. It's always the small little details that make a big show, essentially, like in the back of my head. So I was like, oh, I'll just go through like a big organization. So I decided to go through them, and then over time, we're actually looking into creating collections that also donate to other causes. So basically, our signature whale tail is basically a reminder to people of what you're shopping for. So if you notice some of our t-shirts, most of our t-shirts always have our whale tail in the front. And that's just a show for branding, but also that's just how we started. New Bedford was known for whaling. So I kind of wanted to take the history of my small town and turn it to a positive. And same thing with making waves. To me, I think out of all ocean creatures, the biggest creature that I know is whales that creates big waves. So I was like, it made sense to me. And also I try to keep all my clothes very gender neutral, very size positive. So like we offer sizes small to XXX. And we just want to be an inspiration to other people out there too. Like I know we're on a smaller scale right now, but like my goal is to eventually make the world great with my clothes at some point, but that's a more of like a 20-year scale right now. But as of right now, I'm very grateful for what I've started and what I've cultivated and create almost like a community within the community, because I call all of our customers wave makers, more as a sense that you're not only supporting a small business, but you're essentially giving to the cause of helping the world. And not only that, it also creates a ripple effect when someone looks at, like, if someone's wearing one of our shirts and their best friends are like, oh my God, that's a cool shirt, where'd you get it? Then that's already almost like free marketing. It's like, oh my God, this is a small business that donates some of its profits to Save the Oceans, and it's a cute design, so obviously like it'll just create like a ripple effect that way. So a lot of not meaning went into this brand, but like I didn't realize creating this that there was waves within waves, and then there's this almost like a butterfly effect, I guess. And it was just like a lot, and I'm very grateful for what I've done so far.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And of course, love the mission you have here. And there are a lot of aspects I want to dive into, but first, why the ocean? Like, where did that start? Take me back to when you first had this idea, kind of why did you hone in on that ocean besides that historic piece of where you grew up?
So actually, the point of view when I thought of this was how do I make kindness cool? And I knew a lot of big brands out there, sometimes they like to donate to a cause and just slap their name on it. I
Yes.
wanted to take that one step further. And not only are we donating to a very good organization, but also like we wanted to create our own waves. And then I was like, oh my God, the oceans, like already when you hear the news, like with like tsunamis and all that, like that's like a big wave in a negative way. But
Hmm.
but I was like, but it was just like the thought behind it. I'm like, if the ocean can make waves, so can I. So my thought process was, let me create a brand that does that. And not only that, I feel like as a planet, I feel like the oceans are very important to us. If anything, I feel like we can't survive without it. I'm not that I'm saying a very like knowledgeable when it comes to the oceans, but I live right near the coast, so obviously I want to keep the beaches clean as much as possible. Because whenever I go out with my friends, I'm like, "Oh, which beach is
Hmm.
like the less rockiest or like the more cleaner ones?" Not to be prude, but also I want to enjoy my own experience personally.
Right,
So
right.
my part was let me see if I can create something out of not only our values, which was to stay kind of make waves, but also to the world and be that bridge between the customer and the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that explains too, because I was going to ask why, like the clothing aspect or the clothing route. And I think what you described is creating something, and that happens to be the clothing that then gives back, which right now is to the oceans, right? So
Mhm.
that explains how you kind of combined both of those things. That's really neat. And how did you get into like creating this clothing? I always find it so fascinating. And every guest always has just an answer either of like, oh yeah, I just like tried it, I just jumped into it, which is still so fascinating to me. Like, how do you come up with this idea and then just have clothing to sell? Like, what are the steps there? What did you have to learn, or did you have a background in that? Did you have experience with that? What was kind of that journey like from idea to now we have a website and we're selling clothing?
Okay. Chapter one, no, I'm joking. Um, so during COVID, I think
Hmm.
after the first 3 months of being shut down, TikTok was also obviously big at the time, even before COVID, but it was starting to get utilized more and more. And I saw that a lot of small businesses were created. In high school, I went to a vocational school, so I took business
Okay.
as a trade for the 4 years. So, not saying I have the background like that, but when it comes to the technicality, I do, but I tend to be creative in my head, but I've never like put it out on something physical. Like I always have
Hmm.
these ideas and want to be creative, and honestly, this brand is more of my creative outlet from my outside world.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And so during COVID, I was seeing all these TikToks of all these small businesses starting through Etsy or even just through their own website by using a Cricut machine. So I was like, you know what? Let me invest in a Cricut. Let me start there. And not saying I want to make money off of it. I just want to try it out and see
Hmm.
if this was maybe something to jumpstart the creative aspect of me. And maybe I can create stuff that can fulfill. Like I felt like I needed a sense of fulfillment when it came to
Right.
my creativity because I felt so bottled up being locked up at home, not being able to do stuff with my friends. So I was like, let me just come up with some cool designs, put them on some cups, some bottles, some tote bags, and just start there. And so I would take my iPad, I would draw some designs, and then for some reason I was like, I'm in New Bedford. We're known for whaling and all this stuff. I'm like, let me try to do some ocean stuff, like
Oh,
some
okay.
ocean, like some ocean cups or even bottles, or like try to, or even just like pay homage to some small businesses here. So I did like a collaboration with a small business here here in downtown, and
Hmm.
they're actually like a bubble tea place.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I was like, oh, I found these bottles online on Amazon, and I was like, what if we do a collaboration? I just starting out, so I totally get it if you don't want to work with me, but I would love to do some bottles and sell them here, as in honor of you guys, but also like to jumpstart my business. And
Mm-hmm.
they were so honestly, they were so amazing with me, and they hopped on it automatically. And it was actually in honor of Pride Month. I did a set of four single bottles, and I put their logos on the front. They were milk carton bottles, so I kind of wanted to like play off of like summer was just starting, and I wanted to be cute, but also like being meaningful. And all
Mm-hmm.
obviously like I'm kind of an LGBTQ owned brand, so but I don't like to. Not saying I don't want to promote that. I would rather have my work speak for itself. So I was like, let's do something for Pride. I didn't donate any of the profits at the time because I wasn't thinking on a scale at the time. I just wanted to
Yeah.
just start off and see where it could go. And so I did these bottles. I kind of played like some dad jokes on them. So like I did equality. So like the T was actually TEA. So like
Yeah.
that was one of them. What's the tea? Spill the tea. And I think I also did what was the other one? I can't think of the other one. I it was one of like it was something off the cuff that I wrote,
Yeah.
and I did that. And I did it in this holographic, almost like that Lisa Frank kind of style holographic on these
Mm-hmm.
bottles. So I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Anyone can use them. Like it's not. It was very gender fluid. Not saying that it played a factor, but I wanted to make it meaningful when it came to Pride, but also make it meaningful to them. So I did those bottles. They sold out within a day. I only did like I
Wow.
think maybe 20 bottles. So I only did five of each. So I did 20 bottles total. So and I didn't expect anything to come from that. So automatically they sold out I think within the 2 hours of them being open. And so they reached out and they were like, can you make more bottles? And I was like, okay, I'll do another round of bottles, but if this is like the impact that I got, I'm gonna add a little bit more stock just so we're not selling out within a day and all that. So I think I did 40 bottles. I did double of what I made. That sold out within an hour. And
Wow.
so I was like, just to make things easier, just so I can project, not like just so I can create more so people have access to it. I was like, let me do a pre-order form online through our Instagram, and people can just put in an order of how many bottles of which design, and then I would make them here and deliver them there. And all people had to do was just pick up, like, say their name, picking up some bottles, and then it also promoted their business too because it was reusable bottles, so they could put their
Mm-hmm.
tea inside. So I was like, it makes perfect sense. They make money, I make money. It was a win-win situation. And so we did that, and I ended up making a total of, I want to say almost 200 bottles from that.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I felt I was very ambitious, and I we launched them, I think it's gonna be like a 1 year anniversary soon.
Nice.
And I think I had to do them within 2 weeks. 200 bottles within 2 weeks was very a lot. But then again, I'm just a very ambitious person, so I was like,
Mhm.
I can do it. I could do it. To the point where I sacrificed a lot of sleep for it, and I still had to show up to work the next day. And thankfully, my coworkers were like, just go home. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you need it. Like we've seen the work that you've been doing lately. Like just go home. You need it. So I'm like, no, I can survive. I can survive because right when I get home, I have to make more bottles anyway. Like, no, you could just go home. Just go home. So I'm like, perfect. So I went
Yeah.
home and basically just pumped out 200 bottles of basically of not only spreading a good message but also supporting us, like collaborating with a small business. So then that's how it started. How it turned into clothes for that fall, that year. I was like, let me dabble in some t-shirts. So obviously I planned by the season. So like fall, I was like, oh, let me do some like Halloween stuff, but not really Halloween. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of make it like an all season thing. But I ended up doing some actual merch for the brand. So I did like our logo, and then I did two shirts and a flannel. Of the flannel was Halloween, so I did like a Jason design, and I did a Scream bleached t-shirt, and I
Oh,
did
nice.
also a Sanderson bleached t-shirt. So I did that, and I sold them for the events because we have a lot of small business events here where you can sign up and just set up a table in a tent. People will just come by and support you, and if they want to buy products. So I was like, it makes sense. Let me try it this way. And as I was creating these shirts, I'm like, I feel like I can make something out of this. And I felt like my creativity was underutilized in a sense. So I was like, let me create something. So winter, obviously I pumped out some winter shirts, nothing crazy, but I wanted to incorporate the whale tail. So I did like a mystery t-shirt for the holidays, including the whale
Mm-hmm.
tail. So I put like Santa Claus in the background with the reindeer and like some snowflakes coming down with the whale tail. So I'm like, you know what? I think this is the route that I kind of want to go. So halfway into winter, I spoke with one of my brand ambassadors at the time. We recently gained another one, but at the time there was only one. Her name is
Mm-hmm.
Lily. And I spoke with Lily and I was like, I want to make this a brand. I fully believe in this. And so we rebranded to Just Clothes. So I was like, let's do as a signature shirt design for us is a pocket t-shirt, and then obviously with tie-dye it'll be with no pocket. It's just for the summer, but you can also wear it all year round. But like if it's a pocket t-shirt, it's mainly one of our shirts that you can wear all year round, and you don't have to wear it for one day and like put it away. And so I was like, that should be the foundation. And then eventually I was like, I feel like we can take this brand a little bit further. I was like, since our values are stay kind of make waves, why don't we donate some of our proceeds to save the oceans? We're the whale tail brand. Whales are from
Mm-hmm.
the ocean, so it kind of makes sense that way. But also, at the time, I was like, oh, I found this organization. I feel like they could really, not saying use the money, but like I feel like they've done such a big impact because they've done collaborations with other brands out there, and I'm like, hopefully we can collaborate with them one day when if we're up in that level at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like perfect. Let's do it. Like let's just go full force with it. So I bought all these t-shirts. I did all of these designs on my iPad through Procreate, and we had a team meeting, her boyfriend and I, and we were going through each design, and she was like, nope, nope, that one. She's like, change the colors of that one, and let's do that one for spring. And so I'm like, perfect. So I pumped out all these shirts, and next thing you know, we rebranded to the Artisan, the actual clothes that make an well, at the time it was Stay Kind Make Waves, but we recently changed it to clothes that make an impact because
Mm-hmm.
we knew we wanted to donate to other causes.
Right,
Um,
right.
so we rebranded to the Stay Kind Make Waves, the Artisan brand with the whale tail, and people were like starting to realize us more, and they're like, oh, the whale tail brand. Like they just associated us with the whale tail brand here locally, and I'm like, yep. And whenever I people reached out, I was like, yep, we hand make everything, we design everything, we package everything. Like although we buy our shirts from the manufacturers, but we use organically U.S. grown cotton and actually ethically sourced cotton too. So
Nice.
like, we want to be sustainable when it came to because we did a post one day on Instagram where it was like for Earth Day we post stand up for what you stand on, and I was like, honestly, since we rebranded to shirts, I'm like, let me rebrand our packaging and let's rebrand that the behind the scenes things.
Mm-hmm.
So I ditched all of my custom packaging that was bad for the earth. I switched to business cards that were recyclable and compostable, and same thing with our thank you notes. Like I changed that aspect. So now whenever you get a shirt from us, you get like a little like a couple of cute stickers that we design, a thank you note, and it comes within this compostable packaging that you can reuse for other people, or you can just like compost them, or like if you want to throw them away, that's fine. They're recyclable, but they're not as bad. Like they're very good for the earth. Also, the brand that I purchased, the compostable mailers, they actually plant a tree for each purchase that you buy from them. So
Wow.
I was like, I feel like I'm doing the world some good. I
Yeah.
have a brand that's doing some good, and I'm supporting other brands that are doing some good. So I'm like, this is like I just felt very destined in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then now we're here. Now we're a lifestyle brand here on the South Coast, hopefully to take on the world one day. but but baby steps. So our plan is to start here in Massachusetts. We've done some sprinkles in Rhode Island, and hopefully we'll just make our way west and just
Yeah.
spread kindness through not only our shirts, but like when people wear them, I hope that our values come through with it. So when people wear our shirts, I hope they are staying kind within each other. So like doing random acts of kindness within your life, or like just being kind to in general. So But that's just more of like a symbolic thing with the brand. But I just want people to just, when they wear the shirts, they feel good, that they don't have to feel like that we're a brand that is too feminine, too masculine. Like we're a brand for everyone. We're online, so we're easy to access. And not only that, we promote authenticity at all times. Like if you don't feel like yourself, then your point doesn't get across.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure that whoever wears our shirts, or if anyone decides to purchase our shirts, that they feel good in them. And we really put in effort when it comes to the quality of the shirts too. I want to make sure that our shirts are very versatile, whether it's colored, like bright colors or not. But also when it comes down to the actual quality of the shirts, like the responses I've been getting, they're like, "Oh my god, these shirts are like perfect to sleep in. They're so soft. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can wear them under a hoodie. And they're not like they don't make me hot, or it's just like I can wear them on their own and just like wear them as a regular t-shirt, or I can actually like layer them." And I'm like, that's the aesthetic that I want to go for. It's
Mm-hmm.
that lifestyle, casual. Like you can wear them down the street. You can wear them while you're doing your groceries in your yoga pants, or like when you're running errands. Like it's just our brand is very easygoing, and
Yeah.
that's how we are as a team too. Like if you meet each of us individually, we're very easygoing and very carefree.
Yeah, thank you so much for walking us through that whole journey there because I always find it just so important to hear how people got to where they are. And, it sounds like you just started out, hey, let me try just making these cups and making stuff on my iPad, and how that eventually evolved into the shirts. And now you're crafting the Artisan brand and really honing in. It just really shows how you really started to converge into what the brand is now and how you're really
Hmm.
honing in on it. Because I think it can sound quite daunting even to look at, right? Like your brand and your website, like, wow, how did they get there? And of course, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. But to your point, like you said earlier, it is baby steps. Like you just have to start and try, and then you just slowly hone in on your craft and what you want to do with the brand. It's just that
Right.
journey that you take, and you just, the first step is starting, right? And then it kind of goes from there.
Like obviously this sounds a little cliche. It could get a little bit repetitive when people say just do it. Obviously, like you have to dive in. And I had actually a conversation with someone, and they're like, I love how you like just started, and they're like, do you have a degree in when it's like graphic designing and all that? And I'm like, no, I'm in college for business and I have like the
Right.
business background. I actually didn't think I would be owning a business, to be honest. When I was in high school and I took the trade, I was just like, I'll be like an executive or something. Like I'll own someone else's business. But
Mm-hmm.
then when COVID hit, I kind of had like a self discovery and within myself on a sense of like mental health and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me create something. Let me create almost like an entity at first, and then make almost like an impact, or like make a big splash here locally, and then eventually take on the world. Like if anything, I kept telling myself like since COVID happened, I'm like, the world is your oyster. Like if the world
Mm-hmm.
keeps opening and shutting back down again and opening and back up, like there almost anything that's impossible is possible, if that makes sense. Like, and someone was like, I love how you just did this without having any knowledge in graphic design, because there are people out there who look down at people like that. And I'm just like, honestly, anything can happen. You can like, not saying I'm a perfect designer when it comes to my stuff, but like I do try to have a creative eye, and I try to like look at things in a different way. Like like traditionally I like to go for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
So when I launched my Pride collection recently, I was like, I don't want to do the traditional rainbow spiral. Like if anything, I want to do like a different take on rainbow tie-dye. So I was like, let me do the crumple effect, but I don't want to make it too rainbow-y, where like you can only wear it for the month of June and that's it. So
Yeah.
I wanted to like take that into consideration. And same thing with like the detailing. I want to keep it simple, that you could wear it on its own. You could wear it under a hoodie. You could wear it under like a button down, like a casual button down shirt, and it matches with everything technically. Like as much as
Mm-hmm.
it's rainbow, like you could wear it with jean shorts. You could wear it with jeans. You could wear them with black jeans. Like I try to keep it very versatile at all times. And then obviously we'll have some like limited edition things here and there, or like we'll do like different variations. But essentially what we want to do is create a brand that is easy, simple, and effective. And
Yeah.
just have it in, I try to break it down into 3 easy steps. It's like, first is doing your research and shopping small and responsibly. Obviously, shopping small is a big thing. Like, just you supporting a small business, that's already a great thing that you're doing. But if you're doing a little research, a little bit more, if you're shopping small and responsibly, you're going beyond the expectations of what people usually have. And then with the brand, it's like, yeah, we're small and responsible. We are very charitable, but also we want to make sure that although we're promoting kindness, that we're also being kind too. So like
Hmm.
we like to collaborate with other small businesses. If anything, I prefer to go small than big, just because there's other people out there that really want to jumpstart their passion and they have nowhere to start. And that's how I felt. And collaborating with that small business for the bottles, like really created like almost like a memory for me. So like now when I see other brands start out here locally, I'm like, if you ever need anything, I'm here. I know I'm a clothing brand, but like if you need somewhere to start at least, or at least gain a presence, I can work with you, or we can collaborate as brands, whether it's creating a product or creating content or something, like just so you feel a part of the family almost here, like as a local business. But being online, I feel like I have such more a less of a boundary, if that makes sense. Like I feel like
Hmm.
I can create stuff more and almost push the envelope a little bit better than traditionally having a store and having that responsibility and all of that. Because I was like, if I want to be online, because I want to make sure everyone has access to us and that they can find us at either on social media or directly through our site, but also like pay homage to our city here, but also I want to take that, remix it to a minimalistic brand that is minimal, but it's like the small details make it a bigger impact, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. And I think you're really joining and creating and being involved in that small business community, right? Like you're not just focused on doing your thing. It's how can I also support others? I know what it was like to just start out, and I think that's beautiful. And I always hear how great, and I know firsthand how great the small business community is all over the country, right? All over the world.
Hmm.
And those people just small business owners just love supporting each other and collaborating. And I just think that's wonderful, what you're doing to give back to the community itself.
And I actually make all the products too. So like it's a
Right.
little bit even more special because you're getting a product that you're representing the artisan, but you're actually getting a product made by the artisan himself.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like I kind of wanted to create like almost like a mystery persona, like almost like how pop artists create like a pre-persona. So like Sia.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yep.
no one
Yep.
knew what she looked like, but she was such a great singer. And then eventually over time the press like showed who she was. But like I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted to create that similar effect in the small business community because I feel like that hasn't been done before. And same thing with
Right.
here locally. I want to create something unique because growing up, I've never heard of small businesses that are doing what I'm doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, let me take this into a different light and almost create like a unique presence here. And just obviously it'll take time and patience. I get that. I mean, it took a long time to get where I'm at right now, so I can't imagine like what it's going to be like in the next couple of months or years of the artisan. Like if I started from where I started to now, I feel like I can conquer anything. And also to not lose that not passion, but like the drive either. Like I said, this is my creative outlet, and I want to make sure that we're being authentic at all times, but also we're also not in a rush to put out new designs. If anything, like I would
Yeah.
rather hold back on something if I don't feel like it is us, if that makes sense. Like
Yep.
I would rather make sure it is genuinely what we want to portray over than just to make the money. Obviously, like I'm going to launch a new collection today. I don't know what time yet, but we are like, this has been pre-planned since like when we first rebranded for this collection. So like this
Mm.
was very intentional. This is what we wanted to do. But like I wanted like dabble into other wildlife organizations and maybe introduce some new animals to the brand just for that little bit, and then maybe even bring them back the next year and just like keep growing that way and just do different designs, but also create like all year designs too. So like I have so many ideas and so many like ways to take this that I'm just so excited to like try them out and then see where it goes, because I like to do things without expectations.
Yeah, just experiment with it and see what happens. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was interesting too, what you said about that personality piece, because I find that a lot of small businesses or folks just starting out, a big piece of the social media aspect is putting like your own face out there, your own personality out there. And clearly pieces of who you are reflected in the artisan, in the brand itself. Do you find that easy, difficult to navigate, kind of taking that more of the approach of almost putting the emphasis on the brand, the clothing, rather than the creator or the team behind it, if that makes sense?
I mean, so like when I got onto the brand ambassador train, I wanted to like almost like traditionally when I think of brand ambassadors, they're basically influencers where they're just
Right.
getting free stuff and they're just promote the brand. I want to take that and do a little twist where I want to start off with local ambassadors first, because I knew I want to saturate here and then eventually move over to like other states or even just other cities within Massachusetts and grow from different areas and then meet in the middle and then move over to the next state and do the same thing. So I want to take the brand ambassador role and take it to a point where we're just starting out. So like I want your point of view, but also I want your influence for the brand, but also an influence to people to join our brand. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's why with Lily and now Haley, before we even touch new designs or even if I'm creating new designs, we all meet as a team. I present the designs to them and I'm like, this is the intention behind, like, this is like, for example, I'm like, let's do like a jungle collection and do like a almost like a little bit of palm tree, a little bit of cheetah, like just like this is just an example. So like I'll present those designs and we'll go through process of elimination. Or if they all get denied, I'll just go back to the drawing board and like almost reset myself, just because I feel like as humans, I think we tend to like take that as a negative where you just like the denial itself can be a little
Mm-hmm.
bit overwhelming. So what I'll do is if any of my designs get either sidetracked or even just like not denied. I don't want to say denied like that. Like they're like, oh, you could do better, essentially. Like I know your potential. So I tend to like just put it all away, recharge. I'll usually take a day off and like from everything, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just make sure that I'm okay with myself and that I'm being kind to myself and just giving
Mm-hmm.
myself that respect that it's not personal. It's just maybe I just need fresh eyes or even just inspiration. And maybe I can even like create something better. So with that role, I wanted to make sure that they had almost like a say in the brand, because I know we're small, but I want them to feel like they're a part of it, but also advocate for us at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to take that in that light and do a little twist on it. And then obviously we're looking for, well, our intention is to find other people who want to join the brand on the outside, where it's like, well, I want to support your stuff and just like show people around in my area. We're looking for that kind of people too, where it's just like the basic influencer. But obviously that comes with time. Right now I've just been asking my friends, I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
would you be okay with just like that are like moved away for college? I'm like, hey, would you mind like sporting this around your campus and just like spread word for me? Because essentially it does, with marketing, it is word of mouth. Like, hey, did you check out
Right.
the Artisan? And it's like, oh, who's that? And then it's like already a free marketing right there. And so I was asking a couple of my friends, like, yeah, of course, just send me a couple of shirts, and if not, I'll do like almost like a little presentation for you. I'm like, okay, that's fine, or even just promoting on their social media. So
Yeah.
that's how we've been starting out with like influencing a little bit. But as the brand ambassadors, like their job automatically is to promote the brand, and they have. But also, like, I want to make sure that they feel like they're part of the Artisan family too, and that I try to keep like, if anything, my goal is to keep an open forum for everyone. So like,
Mm-hmm.
so if you ever, I've had someone join in on my meeting one day with my team, who's now a part of my team now. So he was like, I love how you kept everything open. Like everyone can speak their mind, everyone can just like give their opinions or even just like give their influence, and that it was very appreciated and
Mm-hmm.
very heard. And I'm like, that's what the energy I want to keep within the brand when it comes to the team side, because it will reflect on the clothes and the customer's perspective. So I told them, I'm like, that's what I try to keep, if anything. And also, for promoting to stay kind, I want to stay kind within the brand too. I want to make sure everyone knows what's going on, what upcoming events, what upcoming opportunities are coming to us, and just to keep them in the know, but also at the same time that we are a family and
Mm-hmm.
that we're all
Mm-hmm.
friends here at the end of the day. So I want to make sure that I take care of them that way, but also that they feel heard and seen too.
Yeah, that's excellent. Sounds like a very safe and positive, open culture that you're building, like you said, not only externally with what the brand is, but also internally with your own team, and just reflects your overall mission of spreading kindness and just creating a safe space. Yeah, I love that. I love when brand owners and business owners are intentional with their mission in every aspect of the business, right? Internally, externally, etc. So that
Mhm.
clearly shows with what you're doing, which is excellent. Yeah, that's neat.
Right.
Love that.
And if anything, like if I could give advice to some people who want
Mm-hmm.
to start a brand, like honestly, patience is key. Like you just can't start a brand and then expect $10 million worth of sale. Like I'm just or
Right.
exaggerating a little bit. Like you just can't expect 10 million followers on Instagram. You can't expect $10 million worth of profits. Like that's just you just have to face that reality of you're gonna start with nothing, but you can always make something out of nothing. I think that's just
Mm-hmm.
like I think I've came now right now I feel like I'm in that mentality where you have to make it work, but also seeing how I started to where I am now, it's like you can make something out of nothing. You can make something impossible possible. It all starts with an idea, obviously, but you can turn that idea to a reality. You just have to obviously believe in yourself. Essentially, at the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself when it comes to creating this kind of stuff or creating a brand or even just starting small, like very like Etsy. Like you just have to believe in yourself and believe in your products, but also to make sure that you're okay too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want you to like if I could preach that to people, it's like make sure that this is something you really want to do and not just to make a quick buck off of it. Because I know a lot of people can do that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't get fulfilling. Like if it fulfills the other needs, but it doesn't fulfill your internal needs. And as I was developing this brand, I'm like, with every little step that I made, I'm like, will this bring me joy? Or will this fulfill what I'm trying to accomplish, or even just to get the point across? And if it doesn't, I just either put it to bed or I put it to the side and I'll touch it another day, or like I'll revamp it later on and create a whole collection out of it. Because like in the beginning when we did rebrand, I was like, oh, we should do like an elephant collection, we should do an Arctic collection, we should do turtles, we should do this, we should do that, and then obviously you need to edit yourself. I think that's a
Yeah.
big key. But at least with my team, they were very kind enough to just like like I tell them, if you don't like something, tell me, because then I tend to go off of your opinion, and then or if not, I use your influence. I use you as an influence, and it can just get misread. And so luckily they're okay, not like they've been okay with denying designs, obviously, for the time that we've
Right.
been around. But I that was one thing I wanted to say in the beginning. I was like, if you don't like something, or if you don't like how it looks, or even just our whether it's our website, our Instagram, our Facebook page, or even just like the quality of the shirts, tell me now, because once I start making shirts, I can't look back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I give that disclaimer to them, and I'm just so grateful for my team. Honestly, like
Yeah.
as much as like we're all spread out with our schedules, like at the end of the day, when it comes as a brand, like they really do believe in this, and they're if not like they're invested in this, but if not, they're like fully invested sometimes when it comes to certain things. Because like I'll be like, oh, let's touch hats. Like when I did launch my hats, I'm like, oh, I want to do a dad hat, and they all hopped on the idea. They're like, let's do this color, this color, this color. I'm like, let's just start off with one and work our way up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, so they were so fully supportive of that, and then even with just any design that I make, they that like are fully on shirts. They're like, I don't put designs on shirts without their approval, if that makes sense
Mm-hmm.
too. I know it kind of sounds contradictory, but like I want to make sure it's what other people want too, because I
Yeah.
don't want to put stuff out there and then obviously not make the money, but I want to make sure it's good stuff too. So I obviously need their influence too, but honestly, I'm just so grateful for them. They've been obviously it's been a crazy ride since the beginning. like especially with Lily, like she's been there since the beginning, so she knows
Mm-hmm.
how far we've come. And even with some of our designs, like I've actually backtracked to some old designs of when we started, and I'm like, let me see how I can make it better. And I sent her like the 2.0 version of things, and she's like, oh my God, how did you manage to do that? And I'm like, honestly, I really don't know. She's like, you stepped it up. And I'm like, now I feel like I'm like at the time I felt like we had some boundaries, whereas like now I just threw that nervous mentality out, and I'm like, let's just go full
Mm-hmm.
force. Like, what do we have left to lose, honestly? And that's also a mentality I want to like preach people sometimes. It's like it's okay to have that mentality where it's like, what do I have left to lose? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it is you like being showcased, but also shows the world itself how creative you are or how ambitious you are. So like if one person doesn't like it, that's okay, but there's going to be a whole other people that will like it at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. So I was telling that to Lay. I'm like, I don't know why I had that mentality at first. Like I feel like we should have just went full force in the beginning, but obviously with baby steps, patience, that is that's what's brought us here, and I don't regret it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, if anything, my plan now for the next couple months is just obviously to promote more of the brand, but take it to an elevated level that I haven't seen myself go before, if that makes sense. Like, I want to find other, like, I've been doing some research with other big brands out there and like take hints of what they do and try to incorporate it within our brand. Because when I did start off, it was very for New Bedford only, and I was like, no, I want the world to have some of these shirts. So like I scraped off the name of New Bedford in Massachusetts off of our shirts and just kept it the whale tail and our logo. So I'm like, I feel like this is perfect to start out. And if anything, I'm happy with that decision because not saying I've seen like a great impact from it. I just feel like anyone can have it now. They don't have to feel like they have to be from New Bedford to wear our shirts now.
Yeah. Yep.
And if anything, it just shows our values more than it is the actual like business side of things, if that makes sense. Like it's not, oh, they're from New Bedford, they're just trying to make money. It's like, no, that's our roots. That's where we started. If anything, we want to promote like being kind and making waves and just like being an inspiration. Like if
Mm-hmm.
anything, I want my brand to be almost like a blueprint for my town. So if someone wants to do what I'm doing, or even just to create another New Bedford brand, they can just go off of what I've been doing, and hopefully that can just be like a template. And if anything, they might even elevate it more than what I can at this moment. But
Sure.
that's my intention with the brand right now is just to keep growing, saturate myself here, but eventually I do want to take on the world. Like that's my
Yeah.
end goal is the world.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of that, future state and scaling, currently, are you able to ship your clothing? If so, where? And if not, is it just local to where you are now?
So we actually ship all over the US.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
so anyone can, like I said, anyone can have access to us. We ship to all states. We don't ship it to anywhere else right now,
Okay.
just
Yep.
because of like we can't ship to Canada. We can't ship to, not that we can't. It's just we want to start here in the U.S. and then see how it does, and then
Hmm.
eventually like if anything, if I have to scale it out to like countries, I'm like eventually I do want to do Canada, and then make our way down to South America and like welcome other countries. But for now, U.S. only, and that's just because we're really small too.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of belief in my brand where we will take the world on head on, but we're baby steps, obviously.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
that's our intention is to just saturate all over the US and just make sure people know us, but also feel good in our shirts.
Yeah.
Because when I do take my product shots on our website, all of our shots are genuine. Like they're not forced. Like I feel like those product shots where brands do like editorial kind of aesthetic, I feel like that's just so forced and almost like I don't feel that genuine presence of the actual brand itself. So that was one thing I wanted to tell everyone on the team. I'm like, when we do our shots or photo shoots, or even just like if it's like such a beautiful day near the beach and we want to just meet up and take photos, I want to make it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So, and even like as a brand right now, we've done like a zoo trip recently in Rhode Island, and I was like, I want to take you guys out to the zoo. I haven't gone to the zoo in a long time. Like during the day, I've only done like night events over there. So I'm like, I want to do something during the day. We can promote our shirts and just wear them around, but also do like some fun shoots, but also like meet some of the animals too. And then just do
That's
like little
cool.
trips like that, little road trips, and
Yeah.
just not only promote the brand, but like having fun as a team together.
Hmm.
Because I really do cherish them a lot, and I want to make sure that they're having fun as much as I'm having fun creating the designs. So like I want to make sure that they're having fun sporting the brand.
Yeah, that's neat. I like that idea. That's cute, like a zoo trip. I really like that. That's awesome. And yeah, Mark, so you've been, describing your journey and accomplishments along the way. And the last question I end all my episodes with is just in this moment, what is your proudest accomplishment? And it can be related to the artisan or maybe on a completely separate topic. Just kind of that first thing that comes to mind when I ask you what your proudest accomplishment is so far.
um, ooh.
It's a hard one. I know.
Honestly, I think my proudest accomplishment is creating the team that I have today.
Yeah.
And if anything, they've also helped. They were a key role in I recently reached out to a really big brand, like on a really big level for Oceans,
Hmm.
and I did not expect to get a response, to be honest, because like I felt spontaneous that day and I was like, let me reach out to them recently. I was like, let me reach out to them and see how they feel with working with us or partnering with us, or if not, if we can be a part of their brand and like helps protect the ocean. So I reached out to them through Instagram, through their DMs, and they responded so quickly. They were so welcoming with us. If anything, they love what we do and spreading awareness when it comes to the oceans. So
Hmm.
I'm just like, I couldn't have done that without my teams. Like they pushed me to send that message. So like that was a proud moment. But like overall as a brand, I'm very proud to even just have them, because I know some people wish to have a team or they want to start a team and they don't know who to have on them. And I'm just so grateful for where I've started to where I've come with the team that I have.
No, that's excellent. I love that response. And yeah, it's just so clear that you care about the brand, the clothing that you put out, but also the team behind it. And I think that makes just such a beautiful, high performing team and brand. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys grow and scale over the years. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for sharing your story on virtual coffee and chatting with us today. And before we sign off, where can people find you and the Artisan? Social media is your website. Shout everything out.
Of course, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram right now at the Artisan NB. If you want to check out our site, it's www.theartisannb.com. There you can find everything that you need to know about the brand, our shop there too. And then if any of your listeners want to even just contribute to the brand, whether it's even just sporting our stuff or even if they want to purchase something, you're not only helping us, you're helping the world. And if you do end up buying one of our products, make sure you tag us with hashtag Wavemaker and also tag us on Instagram and Facebook so we can find you. But obviously, please buy from us. More on that scale of just you're not only helping a small business, you're helping the world, but
Hmm.
also spreading our business out there because we are here to stay. That's my goal. Is I'm here to stay.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's excellent. And I hope everyone checks out you and the Artisan. And again, thank you so much, Mark, for being on Virtual Coffee today.
Of course, no. Thank you for having me.